Hello everyone, this is PotatoLegion here. I hope you are keeping very well. I know I haven't made a video in a very long time talking about Dead by Daylight, but they have just announced some absolutely game-changing updates coming out, and I need to discuss this with you all because there's a few concerns I want to bring up. But let's talk about everything, and then I will give you my thoughts at the end of the video. So this is the August 2025 developer update. In the next PTB, they will then test this out and, change some features. But to be honest, a lot of this is probably going to come to the game. So, slugging reduction update. If a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. Added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in custom games. Perks that enable you to recover from the dying state, like Boon Exponential, will continue to function as before without needing to meet this requirement. Gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are left in the dying state, so basically base kit tenacity. Added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling. Recovery now occurs passively with no need to hold down a button. Updated several sovereign killer perks to account for these changes, and this is how it looks now. So this is the unknown slugging, and then you just naturally recover as you are crawling, and it looks like the bar underneath is when you can pick yourself up after 90 seconds. To be honest, this is only going to affect slugging killers that snowball, like Belly, Oni, and Twins. You shouldn't really be slugging, but again, there are scenarios where you need to slug. Like there's two survivors about to finish a gen, you need to slug one and then pressure someone else and maybe put them down as well. But because they can now crawl away, you're going to end up losing that survivor, which is going to be very, very frustrating. My overall thoughts on this is just remove the base kit tenacity, because as I said, there are scenarios where you do need to slug, especially for killers that can snowball well. So just remove the tenacity part. I don't want to have to deal with another survivor and then lose you because you've crawled 10 million miles away. I just think that's kind of frustrating. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is a massive update regarding tunneling. When a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they're unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. This is disabled once all generators are completed. Unhooked survivors gain the following effects for a limited time: haste, endurance, and elusive, which is a new effect, which I'll mention below. No collision with other players, both killer and survivor. Immunity to killer instinct and seize the killer's aura nearby. These effects are lost when the survivor performs a conspicuous action, so that means doing a gen, for example. All these effects except haste and endurance are disabled once all the generators are completed. Added a unique effect to the killer hook state UI that indicates the last survivor they hook, so killers can now see who they last hooked. After completing a unique hook, the same survivor is not hooked consecutively. Killers gain the following benefits: bonus damage for the next generator kick, temporary haste status effect, temporarily reveals survivors, think base kit, barbecue, and chili, that they have less or equal hook states to the hook survivor. These effects are slightly lessened for basically dash slop killers. These effects are disabled once all generators are completed. Added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. If a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. Added the option to enable or disable these new mechanics in custom games, and they've updated several perks. Let's break this down a little bit more. So obviously, if you don't tunnel, you will gain some benefits, including a nice haste and kicking gens. And to be honest, I would say majority of killers don't go out of their way to deliberately tunnel, but there's going to be a lot of scenarios. So let's just say that you do hook a survivor. You walk away, someone quickly goes in for the save, you turn around, and the person that saved has literally vanished into Narnia, and you can see the survivor that was just off hook. Normally, you'd probably go after them to apply a bit more pressure to the other survivors. In this instance, you're going to have to leave them alone. And another case is, what would you do if that survivor runs to a gen that's almost done and goes to complete it? It's not like you can slug them because they'll just pick themselves up. You put them back on the hook, you're going to get punished for it. So there's a lot of scenarios where it's not going to work out for the killer, and now you have to plan your attacks very carefully. And especially if you can't find somebody, you're going to have to, force yourself to tunnel and get punished for it. And the 6 hook stake thing as well, I'm just curious to see if what happens if somebody doesn't save their teammate and they die early. Are you then punished because the survivors didn't save? I guess we'll see in the PTB. Now, this is the elusive status effect, which was mentioned above. So this is a new status effect that silences grunts of pains and suppresses survivors' auras, pools of blood, and scratch marks. It'll make you a lot harder to tunnel that survivor. To be honest, I'm not really against this. They could just add this to the game, and it'd just be a nice feature. It gives the survivor a chance to hide and run away after being unhooked. But I personally think the whole tunneling thing is overkill. There's so many good anti-tunnel perks in the game that you could bring if you are constantly being tunneled. And I do play a lot of Survivor, and I promise you, I don't get tunneled as much as some people make out. And there's a lot of lore update. Now, this is another massive change. Before I even read this out to you, I'm going to tell you how disappointed I am in this, because I don't like this change at all. So, replace Evil Within with 2 modes that can be toggled with a button press. Stalker mode, 4.2 meters a second movement speed, undetectable, and can stalk survivors. Pursuer mode, 4.6 meters movement speed, 24 meter tear radius, increases vault speed, bonuses to lunge range, break speed, and stun recovery, but cannot stalk survivors. Once the stalk meter is full, Evil Incarnate mode can be triggered at will, granting the following effects for a limited time. Survivors are no longer exposed. 4.6 ms movement speed, 40 m terror radius, and increased vault speed. Unlocks a slaughtering strike ability. Hold the power button to charge this ability, reducing movement speed. Press the attack button while charging to quickly lunge forward, adjusting your angle as you move. The length of the lunge depends on charge time. If a survivor enters the killer's attack range while lunging, they are knocked into the dying state. This ability can also be used to destroy pallets. Unlocks the ability to grab and kill or perform a regular mori on survivors who would die the next time they are hooked. Adjusted some of the mechanics of stalking. Remove the limited pool of stalk points per survivor. That's a massive buff. Reduce stalk range to 32 meters and removed distance modifier. Moving while stalking has increased movement speed but incurs a reduced stalk rate, and they've reworked his add-ons. And this is what it looks like in the game. Does it remind you of anyone? But I want you guys to type it in chat before I even say it. Who does this remind you of? It's literally just Pig when you think about it. It's Pig 2.0. He just becomes like another dash killer, which to me is just kind of meh. And it's the only way to insta-down now. You can't just use your basic attack to insta-down, meaning a lot of perks aren't going to synergize well with Myers' basic attack, because you now need to use this fancy charge M2 attack. Clown, increased activation time of the Afterpiece antidote. Increases how long the Afterpiece tonic hindered effect lingers after leaving smoke. They're basically nerfing the Clown a little bit because, yeah, at the moment he is ridiculous. The Unknown increases additional time added to the weakened when injured by UVX projectile. Increases movement speed recovery after teleporting. Increase the camera's vertical range, that's nice. And adjust the several add-ons. Nice to see the Unknown getting some love. And the fact you can shoot over buildings is pretty cool. The Dark Lord, vampire form, slightly reduced Hellfire cooldown. Increases total Hellfire pillars by 1. Reduce Hellfire charge movement speed. Slightly increases cooldown time after casting Hellfire. So that's a nice little buff to his vampire form. Wolf form, increased pounce attack charge time. Increases scent orb spawn time. So they've nerfed his wolf form. Bat form increases movement speed friction to make flying easier to control. Okay, I mean, other than his wolf form getting slightly nerfed, you know, his vampire form and bat form have got some love. The Ghoul, when grabbing a survivor on the other side of a vault with Kanage Leap, the survivor is released at the start. So basically, when he grabs you with his power, when he's vaulting, you basically get stuck until he finishes vaulting, meaning he can close the gap insanely fast. So the fact that now you can break away much quicker is going to give you that distance you need, and nerfs the Ghoul a little bit, which is nice. The Oni, hooking a survivor now spawns more blood orbs. This is because of the whole slugging mechanic. They haven't given twins any love though. And they've updated some various perks. I know I've been really negative throughout this video, but to be honest, there isn't much I really like that's coming up. I mean, I'll play the Myers and see how he feels, but to be honest, it's just going to feel like playing Pig in a sense, with some sort of stalking ability. The whole tunneling thing with the 6 hooks, I think that needs to go. I think survivors have got so much going for them already when it comes to anti-tunnel, and I think it's just real overkill. And I think a lot of people over-exaggerate how hard they're tunneled. I promise you, I've done tests in the past, or live on stream, when we've done like 10 games of Survivor and haven't been tunneled once. So I just think it's over the top, personally. I think the anti-slugging stuff, I think it's minus the tenacity. I think it is what it is, and I like the fact you haven't got to hold it down anymore. It's just automatic, and it's good as well because then your teammates can't just deliberately like leave themselves slugged, because you do get that a lot when you're playing Survivor. Your teammate just won't recover for some random reason. At least this way they're forced to, which is good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Take care. Bye.
私の名は吉良義景、年齢33歳。自宅は森王町北東部の別荘地帯にあり、結婚はしていない。